and this is absolutely ridiculous, but this is a tiny sweater. Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Mathilde, I'm a French beginner knitter, and today is episode 9 of my knitting podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about all of my current whips. If I've got any finished objects, then I'll show you them, and then any acquisitions and future plans. In this video, I'm also going to talk to you a little bit more about my book Club Cardigan Cal that I'm running along with Sarah from Two Pearls in a Pod and Sandra from Knit on Instagram. But before we begin, I want to thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Honestly, I didn't think it would happen, and it may not seem like a lot, but to me it is definitely a lot. There's a giveaway that I will announce in a couple of videos because I'm still waiting for one of the prize. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in participating. That will be, I think, in my next knitting podcast. So yeah, let's just start. I've got just one finished object to show you today. I've actually got another one, but it's a secret test knit, so I can't show you it yet. It was a really quick test knit, so it didn't take too much of my knitting time, but it still meant that I couldn't quite finish some of the other plans that I wanted to finish, and the one finished object that I've got to show you is absolutely tiny, so there's definitely no big finished object this month, which I thought there would be like 2 of, but I didn't have that much knitting time, and I guess not much knitting mojo, so I've just kind of been stumped a little bit, but that's okay. And this is absolutely ridiculous, but this is a tiny sweater. So this is it's so small. This is the mini crop puff sweater by Geraldine something. I don't remember actually. It's a free pattern on Ravelry that you can use to make like sweater garlands, mini sweater garlands that were really popular at least this December. But I used this to make this tiny sweater actually for my partner's brother-in-law, who has like he's making a model plane, and he has a pilot that he made himself, and he wanted him to have a knitted sweater. So I made this thinking this would take me like 2 days maximum, and I started this in February, and I cast this off early May. So yeah, it definitely took me like a while just because I wasn't that excited to knit it. And I made a few modifications from the patterns just to have the sweater be a bit bigger. So the arms are really long, they're like 14 centimeters, and the body is also bigger. So I had written down like the number of stitches that I had cast on, and the number of stitches that I put on each side of the raglan increases, but I can't find my notes anywhere, and I didn't put it on Ravelry, and so I don't actually remember the exact numbers that I chose, but yeah, I just made a little bit of calculations to increase the number of stitches on each side of the raglan increases actually, and then I knit to the length of the doll that he has made so that it fits. Hopefully I still have to give this to him. My partner's going there in 2 weeks, I think, so that will be when we know if it actually fits or not, because I'm kind of worried that it's going to be too small. But we'll see. I did my best. So that's my only finished object to show you, but I've got loads of whips to show. I'm not going to show you the Alder sweater that's still on my needles, just because I've not actually made any progress on it. And I don't think I will show it to you until I've done something like major to show, so for example finishing the body or finishing one of the sleeves. That's a cat. I don't know if you can hear that. So this little girl wanted to come. This is Pavlova. She's my sister's cat that I'm cat sitting at the moment, and it's actually my cat's sister as well. But yeah, she doesn't sleep as much as my cat does, so she's a bit annoying. Hopefully she won't make too much noise. Anyways, yeah, so I won't show you my Aldo sweater, but I'll show you my whip that has been on my needles the longest apart from that, and that is my storm sweater, which I've made a little bit of progress on since the last, or like not even the last podcast, because I didn't show you it in the last podcast, but the one before that, so episode 7. Okay, so it's really annoying because I have to hold the mic, but because this is otherwise too flimsy and it falls, and if I like try to put it here it just looks weird, so I'm sorry, it's a bit annoying, but that's how we have to do things. But this is my storm sweater, and the only progress I've made since the last time I think was to knit 2 of the different patterns, so that's 2x2 broken rib, and that's like a, I don't know, crisscross kind of thing. So I finished that, and I've got just one other pattern to make before I can do the ribbing. This is really oversized. Look. I'll put some B-rolls as well, but yeah, this is really big, which I'm actually kind of glad that it's so big, and I'm excited to see how the finished product is on me. I am using Gynt by Sandnes Garn for this, in the Petite knit colorway, I think it's Almond or 2511, which is a beige that's kind of leaning pink sometimes, so I'm not sure that's going to be the best color on me, but we'll see when I finish it. And I think I purchased like 15 skeins, and I've still got 9, I think. And when I was knitting on it, like it just, I have to change skeins really like often, but still I've still got 9 skeins, and I've got pretty much the body done, and then I've got to do the collar, and then I've got to do the 2 sleeves. So I think maybe each sleeve is going to take me 2 skeins, at least maybe 2.5. So that's like, let's say 5, and then I've got 4 more. Yeah, maybe I'll have like 1 more left. We'll see. Lately I've been really wanting to work on it. First of all, because it's been on my needles since I think the 2nd of February. No, sorry, since the 23rd of February. But I feel like it's been on my needles for so long. I kind of want to have this finished, because the Aldo sweater has been on my needles for longer, but it's a more intricate and more time-consuming knit, whereas this is really easy and just flies off, basically. It's just that I've not put that much time into it. Next week I'm going to babysit my niece and nephew in Switzerland, so I've got a 3.5-hour train ride from, and then a 3.5-hour back from Switzerland. So like I've got like 7-hour journey in total, and I think I'll have a little bit of knitting time while I'm there, like when they're either chilling in the afternoon or in the evening when they've gone to bed. So I want to take this in order to do the collar, and then hopefully I'll be at the point where I can do the ribbing, and so it won't require too much brain power. I'll have like, even if I'm tired or if the kids are around me somewhere playing or something, I can still focus on it and still keep an eye on them easily. But hopefully I'll have at least that part done, so that I just have the sleeves to do next. And yeah, this is my first time using Gynt, and it's definitely feels a bit stiff, and I'm curious to see how it will wear, because everyone is raving about it, and so far I'm just not that in love yet. My next whip is the Moonset by Ozetta, which I've started on the 4th of February. No, which I've started on the 4th of March, and it's still on my needles. I finished the body, so I'll show you that. But there is a bit of a problem with it, which is fine, but... So this is it. I've made the body longer, I think, than the pattern recommends. I think she says like 31 centimeters, and I've made it a bit longer, I think. I don't actually remember. And yeah, just the stockinette took a while, but I've done the I-cord edge, which you can probably tell it curls a bit, and also I think it's a bit too loose. But what I did was I sized up in needle size to do the I-cord bind off, because I'll show you in a moment my next whip, which is a Cumulus blouse. I did my I-cord bind off with the same needle size as the body, and Petite in that pattern recommends doing decreases every couple of stitches so that the I-cord isn't that, I guess, loose. But that's too tight for me, so I have to redo that I-cord. So I was like, okay, and now that I know that, I'm gonna just go up a needle size and not do any decreases for the Moonset T, but I think that's too loose. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have to redo the bind off of my Cumulus blouse anyway, and I'll do that by going up a needle size, but maybe doing a few decreases here and there, and then I'll see if that makes it not too tight, not too loose, and maybe I'll redo this. But honestly, I think this is just going to be like, I'm gonna tuck it into my jeans. So I'll wait until I've finished the sleeves, and I still have to also put that together, and then I'll see what I do for the body. But yeah, this is like a drop shoulder top with this really pretty neckline, but when I tried it on, I don't know if it's because it's a bit too tight on me. I chose a size slightly smaller than I usually would, just because I wasn't sure that I would have enough yarn, which I still have all of this to do both sleeves, and I think actually I'm probably going to use all of that. I might make the sleeves a tiny bit shorter, but because I chose a size slightly smaller, the shoulders are really tight, and like the drop shoulder just goes up to here, so I think definitely a bit smaller than I should have made it. But also, and I don't know if it's that way for every size, but I feel like the neckline is maybe a bit too high up than what I would like. It's nice detail, but I think for my personal liking, I would like it to be a bit lower down. But we'll see when I finish the sleeves, and I'm not going to reknit this because first of all it took me ages, and second of all I think it will be fine and I will still wear it. But yeah, this definitely is taking me longer than I would have liked, because I would have liked this to be finished already, and it's not. The yarn that I'm using is a I think it's a cashmere baby alpaca and silk blend from a French hand dyer, but I've talked about the combination of the fibers already in previous podcasts, so sorry I don't remember. But this is by l'Atelier Teinture, and it is their Caresse fingering in the colorway Nuit, and it's really pretty. However, I think it's a bit prickly on my skin. When I tried it on, I could definitely, it was definitely itchy, so I'm not sure if it's gonna be itchy just for a few minutes and then I'll get used to it and it will be fine, or if it's just going to be really prickly. And I don't know if it's because of the alpaca or the cashmere. We'll see. And also, one last thing that I wanted to mention about this yarn, which I'm not sure I'll be able to show you. Maybe here. Don't know if you will be able to see. There are some strands of black, which I guess is from the ship or something, but when it gets stuck into, or when I knit, sometimes it makes the yarn really stiff and I kind of have to pull them out for it to feel better. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, I found that really annoying because every couple of stitches I've got to like be careful of the black strand to remove it, because otherwise it makes my fabric a bit weird. Can I show you that on here? I don't think so. I think maybe it looks okay on the garment itself, like you can't really see. My stitch definition is not the best, but I think that's mostly because of... Actually, I think you can kind of see here. Like, this is because of that black strand, I think. So yeah, hopefully blocking will help that. My next whip is the Cumulus blouse, which I was hoping to have this done by today, or like by this weekend, because it really flew off my needles. But because of the I-cord bind-off saga, I was feeling kind of discouraged, and I did finish one sleeve, but I've been kind of putting it down for the last couple of days. But this is where we're at. Sorry, it's a bit crumpled because it's been in the bag, but we've got one sleeve done. And the I-cord is definitely, like, I think for this I-cord I used a size of needles bigger to do it, and I didn't do any decreases, and that's definitely feels okay. But as you can see, this is really tight. I'll show you like this actually. And so I can wear it, but it just cinches it at my waist, and I can't, like, I tried to make this like as long as I wanted it to be, but I can't pull it over my hips because my hips are really, well, not really, but they're larger than my waist. My waist is quite small, and then I'm like a pear-shaped kind of person. And so it really cinches in, but not in a pretty way, so I really have to fix that. But first of all, it's Mohair, so I'm not looking forward to that, and also it took ages to do the I-cord bind off, so I'm really not looking forward to it. And then the one thing is that there's a video tutorial on how to do the I-cord bind off, which that was my first time doing it. So I looked at the tutorial, which was really helpful. However, it didn't really say how to finish off the bind off when you're knitting in the round. So I just, because I was already kind of sad that it was too tight, but I still like went and finished it. This is what I ended up doing for that like finishes, and that's really, really bad. And since then I found another tutorial on how to do the bind off, like how to do it tightly. Actually, I've done that on the... Have I done it on the sleeve? Yeah, but on the sleeve I kind of messed it up. It's not as neat. But then I did it for the moonset tee, and that was really much better. I think maybe that's here actually. And that's just a much better finishes. So I'll link the tutorial down below. It was really helpful, and I'm definitely going to use it again to finish off the first sleeve of the second sleeve of the Cumulus blouse, and both sleeves of the moonset tee, and then when I redo the bind off for the Cumulus blouse of the body. So yeah, I've got still to do the neckline I-cord, and I don't know which needle size to use. Should I use the normal size, but then that might make it a bit too tight? Should I use the bigger size, but then that might make it a bit too loose? I'm really struggling with I-cord. Like, I like the look of it and I like the process of it, but just because of my gauge or like my tension, just makes it a bit more tricky, I feel. So I'm gonna focus on basically doing the second sleeve. Then I think I'll do the neckline, and I'll finish by redoing the I-cord bind off. But hopefully by next podcast this will be done, and I would have worn it a few times. I am using Filcolana Tilia in the colorway Ice Blue, which is color 340, and it's really gorgeous. I really like that color, and I think it suits me, maybe. I'm really excited to have this off the needles and be able to wear it, because it's been really rainy in France, which is really funny because I've heard in these Scandi countries it's been really hot, like 30 degrees or something, and here it's been like around 15 degrees and really rainy and really stormy, which personally I love because I don't like the heat, and it means I can knit pretty easily and I can wear my knits, like the Norma sweater for example, which I'm wearing. I didn't mention, but yeah, this is my Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear, which I've made a whole vlog about, so you can go and check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I don't know how much longer that's gonna last and how often I'm gonna be able to wear this, because I feel like that's gonna be pretty warm and also pretty prickly. The last sweep that I've got too is my Book Club cardigan, which I've cast on just yesterday, which was the first day of the Book Club cardigan cal. So this cal is a knit along to knit the Book Club cardigan, which is one of the latest release of Sari Nordlund. This is a top down, drop shoulder, v-neck, all over cable cardigan, which is absolutely stunning and which has pockets. And I'm hosting this cal along with Sarah from Two Bells in the Pod and Sandra from Knit. We're running it on Instagram. Every detail will be beside me. But basically, to participate, you just have to post either a whip or a finished object if you manage to finish it before the end of the cal, which is the 10th of August, and you've got to tag each of us and Sari Nordlund and just use the hashtag, but that's about it. You don't have to finish the project before the 10th of August, you just have to at least cast it on. I am using a yarn that's been so kindly gifted to me by Natura, which is this. So this is Ulysse and Berenice by Natura in the colorway Poivre et Sel. So I'll show you more closely. And the Ulysse is 100% wool, and it just feels really, really lovely. I've had that yarn in my stash already, but in a different colorway. I think it's the Almond colorway, which I've wanted to use for a while, but I've not had time to cast on anything yet, but I will very soon. And then I'm pairing this with the Berenice, which is a different type of mohair from other brands, because this is actually 55% Cyberkid mohair, 25% silk and 20% wool. So it definitely feels different than most mohair, and it feels like it has more grip to it. And I don't know if you can see the difference in the strands, but basically you've got the usual like silk strand, but then you've also got, at least in this colorway, kind of like a yellowish undertone on some strands. I don't know if that's picking that up. I'm making size 2, so they've kindly gifted 6 skein of the Ulysse and 5 skein of the Berenice, and I'll show you my swatch in a moment. If you've seen my previous videos, you know that this cardigan I'm knitting for one of my best friends, Geraldine. She really wanted me to knit her something. She first of all wanted me to knit the folklore cardigan, but I wasn't excited about that. So when I showed her the Book Club cardigan, which I really loved, she was like, absolutely go for it, it's gorgeous. So I'm knitting it for her in the size 2, and this is my swatch. So I'm reaching gauge for the cable section, except for the row gauge. And then the must stitch section, I'm like 1 stitch off, but because I'm reaching gauge in the cable stitch, I'm just gonna go for it. Actually, I've already cast on, so I've gone for it. And I think the row gauge will be okay because Sari mentioned centimeters in the pattern as well. So I'm just going to follow the amount of centimeters instead of the number of rows. I didn't mention, but the pattern was kindly gifted to me by Sari as well because of the cal, so thank you, Sari, if you're watching. I've been loving, this is my first Sari Nordlund pattern, which is honestly wild. I've been wanting to knit some of her patterns for a while, and I actually have another project that I'm gonna make this summer, so if you're interested about that, be on the lookout for the next video, which is going to be my summer plans. But yeah, I've got another project by her, or like another pattern by her that I really want to make, but this is my first ever pattern by her, and so far it's been really smooth sailing, really easy to understand, even though it's my first ever cabled pattern. Like, so far it's been a breeze, so I'm really loving it. And I'll show you my progress. I've only cast on yesterday, so I don't have that much progress. I'm hoping to get a lot more done this afternoon after I've filmed, but we'll see. This is what I've got. Not a whole lot. And honestly, this looks tiny, but I think it's okay. I think it's normal. We'll see. I think it's so pretty, and this colorway it's grey, so it's not my personal favorite color, but it kind of looks beige sometimes, and I think the stitch definition is amazing, especially since you're considering that I'm using Mohair as well as the Ulysse. I didn't mention, but the Ulysse is a sport weight and the Mohair is a lace weight as usual. But the stitch definition is amazing and I really love it. And honestly, I can't wait to get back on my couch and knit this afternoon. I think this is definitely going to, first of all, take a while because it's cabled. And second of all, because I want to be... I was going to say I want to be really focused on it when I knit on it. But honestly, the first couple of rows were difficult and I have actually had to rip back and redo the first, I don't know, 5-6 rows that I made because I messed up the pattern. Once I took a moment to actually read through, okay, that's the left shoulder, that's the right shoulder, that's like how you read the chart and everything. Once that clicked, it became really easy to just knit on it and like watch something or read something. So I'm actually finishing reading my book, which is Funny Story by Emily Henry, while I'm knitting on this. This is one part of the cal as well that you can participate in if you want to. It's completely optional. You don't have to, but we are encouraging you to read something while you knit on this. And I'm finishing my first book, which is Funny Story by Emily Henry, and then I'll go to either my favorite book series, which is actually right here. So I'll show you the first book. This is the Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. Let me show you because actually, yeah. This is the Raven Boys. So it's the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. It's one of my absolute favorite series of all times. Like when you read the synopsis, you're like, it's really like a romance. It's gonna be bad, but it's so much more than that. If you love magical realism, if you love a bit of fantasy, and if you love quests, magical quests, and dead kings, you're gonna love this one. So I really recommend. The characters are so good, yeah. I really like this. And it's available for free on Spotify as an audiobook, so I'm either gonna reread that one, which will be like my 5th, 6th, maybe 7th reread, or maybe I'll start a new series. And I was thinking about the Court of Thorn and Roses, which I've never actually read and which I've obviously heard a lot about. So I'm kind of worried that because I've heard so much about it, I'm going to be disappointed. So that's why I'm kind of like, should I not? But let me know in the comments, what do you think? What should I read next? Anyways, that's all for the whips and finished objects. So now let's talk about acquisitions. I'm not gonna mention any future plans just because I'm gonna post a summer plans video next, so that would just be really redundant for you. But I'm gonna talk to you about my acquisitions, which is really exciting. I finally received my pre-ordered yarn from Olivia and Oliver Fibers from her Endless Autumn collection, which came out in February, I think, which I was so excited to pre-order from, and I received early mid-May. And I've got a lot to show you. The first thing that I've got is a mini DK set of the variegated skeins. So I think we've got Susurrus at the bottom, the like light pinkish one. Then the green is Foliage. Then we've got Autumn Dusk, Harvest, and I don't remember the last one. Crisp, maybe? This is a classic DK mini set of 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon, and I've got 20 grams for 45 meters times 5. And I think I'm gonna hold off on using those until I can have a few more mini skeins that I want to use in a Stella Quilt blanket by Laura Penrose, which I've been eyeing for a while. It's not out yet, and I'll definitely buy the pattern when it will get released, but I don't think I will start it right the second it's released because I want to acquire a few more skeins to see. And I also have to choose a background white color that will go well with, for example, this one I think is a bit light, so we'll see. Like these two at the bottom actually. We'll see how, like, which colorway I can think of to use and which yarn. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll use a drops yarn, or we'll see, but I will need a lot because I think I want to make quite a big blanket. But these are just really stunning and I'm excited to use those. And then I got 3 skeins of this. This is the organic merino in the colorway Susurrus, which is the 100% non-superwash fine merino base, and it is 100 gram for 400 meters. So I've got 3 of those, so that's 1200 meters. And I'm thinking about making in the fall either a Semper V-neck by the Knit Pearl Girl, or I was thinking of doing another Monday sweater by Petite, right? Holding it with a mohair. But I think I might go either for the Semper V-neck or for a drop shoulder design. But I'm not sure which one. This is slightly more pink than I thought it would be. But it is absolutely stunning. I'm thinking of pairing it with a whitish mohair so that to kind of tone down the pink a little bit. But I think this is going to be gorgeous anyways. So I'm really excited to use this, but that's not going to be for a while. And then it's not finished. Then I have the organic merino again, but in the colorway Foliage. So I want to use this one for the color work in the porcelain sweater. So I'm going to hold this with a mohair that I've got to find, but I think I could probably find a matching mohair in either Filcolana or Knitting for Olive, or maybe even Sandnes Garn. We'll see, because I don't have the white yarn for the porcelain sweater, so we'll see which base I decide on using, and based on that I'll use the mohair I think that goes with that. So for example, if I use Sandnes Garn Tin Pier Gynt with the Tin Silk mohair for the main color, then I'll use the Tin Silk mohair. We'll see if I find matching colors, but I'm really excited about that. And this is just gorgeous, and it just has a tiny bit of speckles. It's not really even speckles, but like variation in the colors, so like kind of a orange, and yeah, it's kind of subtle, but I really like that, and I think that's gonna look gorgeous in the porcelain sweater. So then, because I loved those two colorways so much, I bought the sock set, and it is the DK sock set. So you can actually see the difference in the colors, because this is like the fingering weight, and this is the DK. And then same thing for the pinkish. You can see the difference that the dyes make on each base. But this is the DK sock set, so this is 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. It is 100 grams for 225 meters for the main skein, and then the mini is 20 grams for 45 meters. Actually, this is the colorway spruce, it's not foliage. I thought it was foliage. It's not, so it's a bit warmer toned than foliage, I think. And I think this is more tonal, whereas foliage is a variegated. But that's gonna be so pretty. I'm thinking about making the hibernal DK socks by Summerlee. I think it's Summerlee. Yeah, I think so. And I really wanted to cast this on like this summer, but I think this is gonna have to wait because I want to make actual summer socks. And then finally, I've got this beautiful Surrey silk in the colorway chestnut, and this is 71% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% mulberry silk, and this is 300 meters for 50 grams, and I've got 4 of those. Originally I just wanted to buy 3 because that would be less expensive, but I didn't want to play yarn chicken, and I didn't want to have to choose a pattern for it that would mean that I would have to restrict myself. Same thing for the 3 skeins of the organic merino in this Cesaris colorway. I didn't want to have to like play yarn chicken or make the sweater a little bit more cropped. I really wanted to enjoy the yarn as is, and if that meant it was a bit more expensive, then that's, you know, that's fine by me. I would rather it be more expensive but more suitable for what I want to make, rather than make it, you know, a bit shorter or alter the sweater too much. I'm not yet sure what I want to make with this. I want to purchase, I think it's the Knitting for Olive merino in the colorway Robin, I think would go well with this. To make either an era sweater by November Knits or a drop shoulder, because again the era sweater is lovely but it's a raglan, and I'm kind of trying to go to more drop shoulders design. But I absolutely love this. I think this is such a gorgeous colorway, and I've not had anything in that tone yet on my needles and in my wardrobe, so I'm really excited for it actually. And you would think that that would be it for the acquisitions, but actually I've got one more to show you. I bought some Knitting for Olive merino in the colorway Soft Rose. So this is 100% extra fine merino, and this is probably like 225 meters for 50 grams, I think. Yeah, 250 actually. So I bought it to pair with this yarn from La Bien-Aimée, which is Alex in the colorway Eliodor, which is 70% Falkland merino and 30% Surrey alpaca. This is a lace weight, and I wanted to use a pink for the really, like for example here you have a really blush pink, but I bought this online so I couldn't really see the colorway. I thought it would work. I think it's a bit too pinkish, but I'm gonna swatch and I'll see if I like the fabric that it makes, the color that it makes. I think because this is not as pink, this will definitely tone down the pink in this, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for, because this isn't really my color, I think. I was hoping for a more blush pink, but I think it will work. But I have to swatch to see. So I've got a lot of swatches that I want to make in the future, like few weeks to see what I can cast on next, because once I've finished my Moonset tee and my Cumulus blouse, I want to focus on my sweaters and the cardigan, but I also want to start casting on some things. So in the next week or two, I'm gonna swatch for at least 2 or 3 patterns that I want to make this summer, but I've just not had time yet. And I think that's it for today. Tune in for the next podcast to be able to see what the giveaway prizes will be, and that will be on that video that you can apply to win something. This video you can just comment for fun. I wanted to say thank you for 1,000 subscribers and a bit more actually now, and thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're excited for everything that I've shown you, and maybe you've got some inspiration. If you're participating in the book Club Cardigan Cal, thank you so much. Let me know in the comments, talk to me on Instagram, I would love that. The group chat is like over 100 people, so everyone is chatting and showing their pets or showing what book they're currently reading, which is so lovely. So yeah, if you're not on Instagram but you do want to participate, let me know in the comments so that I can either, maybe you can send me an email with your whip, or maybe you can participate on Ravelry as well. We've got a Ravelry thread. I'm not sure whether that will be included in like the participants to win a prize. I'll have to see with Sarah and Sandra what they think. But yeah, if you're participating, if you're not able to participate on Instagram but would like to, let me know and we'll figure something out. I think that's it for me, so thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!